there is actually a large number of people who, according to the government, are literate, right? Because they've got some level of schooling. And according to the government, this section of people are literate, and there is nothing more that has to be done with them. But if we ask this group of people to read the headlines of a newspaper or to read a very simple bank form, they would fail to do that. So they are literate in the books of the government, but for most practical purposes, they are what we would call functionally illiterate or very illiterate. So they have got some level of schooling, but they have dropped out or they have gone through schooling up to, let's say, class 7, 10, but then they haven't studied after that. And even with government, what happens is going through all those years of education, you get very often, and in fact, even in low cost private schools, very often you get mediocre or poor level of schooling. And reading is a skill, if it's not used, it atrophies, right? So today we have roughly a population which falls in this category, which we would call early literate. And this problem is not something that anyone is really looking at. But PlanetRead, with its Billion Readers initiative, is looking at this population, which is about 600 million people, out of which two-thirds are girls and women, and looking at how to channel these people by early levels of literacy and bring them um, what we call functional literacy. And the key to what we are doing is using content that people enjoy watching, that is television content, be it serials or movies, and we add same language subtitles on that. So basically, same language subtitling is for the hearing, so they don't need those additional cues, right? Like the door is closing, or background music is playing, etc. But when same language subtitling along with those additional cues, which is for the hearing impaired, then it becomes same language captioning. And we are basically working with all of these groups like government, accessibility groups, NGO partners, and basically IT solution providers like AI for Bharat and AXF Foundation to create solutions which will allow for adding same language subtitling and so on, same language captioning on a systemic level, right? So you basically do it in a manner in which it at source you reduce cost, at source you reduce friction, and so that is what we are doing. And this initiative is called the Billion Readers or the Bird Initiative. So Apurva actually came as a like pleasant surprise. So the first time we experienced it was when we were having an X-Step, a meeting with the X-Step Foundation. In fact, with Sanjay, we were having a meeting and we were discussing, and Apurva was kind of listening in the background, right? And and then at the end of the meeting, we asked Apurva to kind of synthesize all that it had captured, and interesting the kind of insights or nuggets that it got. And it was still quite early on at Apurva at that time. And so that got us interested, and that's how we started using Apurva. Basically, the way we incorporated Apurva for us, it was so we have weekly meetings where we have a lot of brainstorming. We have lots of different verticals we all discuss together. So we consciously chose to have Apurva as part of those meetings. The idea being that initially we would use it for these meetings, and then based on results, we would roll it out to other meetings that we have. The idea was that we wanted to see how much, how it can kind of synthesize and get the main points of the meeting. Can it come up with interesting ideas on its own? It comes up with suggestions. So it was to do that. But what has changed and what I have observed is in fact I've observed also Apurva getting better, right? From my first usage to the way it is today, it's able to pull out the points, the main points of the discussion we are having. It's able to come up with suggestions. It's able to come out with insights much more accurately today. And that's something which we could possibly leverage as we start rolling it out in more verticals, right? So it's kind of not only it's not like just a notes taking software. In fact, it's much better than that. It's kind of synthesizer. It comes out with action points. It comes out with suggestions and so on. Now, what would be very Apurva could kind of distill and give an idea the way it was 6 months back and the way it is today, right? So that would be very interesting because what happens is often we don't realize how our ideas have changed. So if I could maybe get my core idea was maybe try and crack a problem in this way, and with the help of maybe some of Apurva's suggestions, my teammates' suggestions, etc. Today, the idea has become this, right? And this is something which is going to continue. I mean, the problem that we are going to crack, we are trying to crack is as an idea will keep evolving, and it will evolve in lots of different. I'm trying to crack it for gender. I'm trying to crack it by states. I'm trying to crack it by language. Each of the places with different ideas and solutions was. Now, I don't have a way in which I can capture how my idea is evolving, apart from notes. And sometimes, even the notes that I take, I'll have to keep going back to the past to see how it has really changed. Now, if that is something Apurva could offer, right? So literally, what are the main points? I had thought of it doing it this way. I wanted to attack this problem in this way, and now I'm doing it in this way. And this is how my idea has really grown. And then it also gives idea of maybe you could look at all these other avenues also, right? So it suggests a path based on the development that is happening. So that would be very exciting. My moment for me was honestly the first time I experienced Apurva, and that's at your office, right? At the Eight Step Foundation office, when we just discussed the idea of Apurva. I thought it was excellent. Just the idea that here you have someone who's listening in and kind of just imbibing all the knowledge which is there. And I also like that knowledge is then not kept in the institution, but the knowledge kind of is shared with all the partners. So I thought that was a very worthy goal, right? So you kind of take out all the now one of the concerns I had and I had expressed to Anand was there should not be any proprietary information ever captured by Apurva when it's shared, right? So as long as that doesn't happen, if the knowledge is shared, but no proprietary information or no names or no all of that is removed, then it becomes a it's literally like a sponge which is taking in all of these knowledge and then it's sharing it with all the different groups. And similarly, we can imbibe the knowledge. Like I'm very clearly in the technology for education space. I'm in the education and society space. I'm in the education and the government space. There are so many intersects. So I would be very happy to also take all the information that Apurva gets from all of these other groups, right? And so I really like this symbiotic sharing of information walls of privacy there. So I think that's a very good idea. And so the only concern is private information should not go out, and I believe that has been taken. So, I mean, the way I have influenced Apurva is I've given suggestions on quite a regular basis to Anand on what are things we could possibly look at, right? Because I find Apurva quite exciting. What I'm seeing in the last few months is it's become definitely a lot more the sense or the ideas or the gist that is a lot more relevant. And I think that proves that it's growing, right? The AI is more and more intelligent. So that's the way it evolve. Yeah. And I'll keep this going. Like as I use it, I'll keep giving suggestions to Anand and all of you involved. I think it's quite exciting. What you're trying is a much larger goal, and I think it's really cutting edge kind of work that Apurva is doing. And I see so many ways and so many spheres in which it could be used. It's very early days for Apurva, but I think it can grow into something very, very exciting. More power to Apurva.